in?
No, question 2 is good.
Okay. All right, so if you're seeing my screen, you should see question 2 that says if x and y are related by the equation y equals t over f times x, where t is equal to 8 and f equals 7, what is the value of this expression, 40x over 17y? So, and let me know if you've got any, feedback for me for things that you'd like to do more of, or anything like that, because this is all about making sure you get, what you need out of this. So, just me scanning these numbers, these are a little large for maybe non-calculator. These are all auto-generated by software that I write. And not that matters to you, but I'll just point out these are just slightly too big. But we'll still be able to do this problem. Do you have any idea where you might start given this information? What might you do?
Start with the common denominator.
So you're trying to figure this out, okay? And this information is given. To make a common denominator, it's probably 255, okay? Let's hold off on doing that for a moment.
Okay.
I want you to see that if you substitute in these values, y equals 8 over 7 times x, and then you can sort of see, okay, I need 40x over 17y. We need something like that. And then we need 14y over 15x. We somehow have to get to that from this. This somehow has to convert into those things. So let me just scroll down here. I need a little more room here. And you wouldn't necessarily know to do this, but let me show you this. So if I move the x to the other side of the equation, I can do that by dividing both sides by x. So this becomes y over x equals 8 over 7. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if I cross multiply here, so let me start again. So if y equals 8 over 7 times x, 7y equals 8x. And if I go the other way and divide by y, I get 7 equals 8x over y. And if I divide by 8, I get 7 over 8 equals x over y. So the point of all this is that these are the same things, they're just reciprocals of each other. And that's kind of the key skill here, that you would want to know that if I tell you that a over b equals 2/3, then b over a equals 3/2. That's a really critical skill here to being able to do this particular problem. Okay, so the now that we have that information, maybe you're still like hey, well, what do we do next? Certainly could understand that. So did any of that help, or is it still confusing?
I mean, I get it, but I feel like if I were to look at this problem, I would still be like, where do I start? You know what I mean?
Where do you start? Yeah. So the answers are all numbers. Do you agree with that? Do you see that they're all numbers? That means that we have to find something for x over y and y over x. And we've done that. Like x over y is really x over y is really 7 over 8. That's down here. Okay. So this is 40 over 17 times 7 over 8.
Okay.
Plus 14 over 15, and then y over x is 8 over 7.
Okay.
So the mechanics of this problem really aren't that difficult, meaning that now it's a question of how do I do this by hand? I want you to just go ahead and use a calculator to do this, and see what you get, and then we'll talk about how to do it otherwise. Do you have a number for me?
I plugged something in wrong, so I'm redoing it.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna show you how to do this one by hand because I want to make sure that you also see that really this can be done. But um, you know, we'll start out doing it one way, and then we'll talk about another way to do it.
Okay.
And then I'll have you do it the way by hand.
Okay, I got like 3.125, something like that.
Okay, so let's just say you got that on the you had access to a calculator in this question. That's none of these here. So your options would be to convert this to a fraction. Do you know how to do that with your calculator?
Yeah, math, frac. 797 over 255 will be.
Right. If you somehow made an intermediate rounding assumption or just rounded intermediately, you'd have to then check these individually to see which ones were the same as this number. So let me run through this again because the real value you're going to get out of this is seeing how to do these problems by hand. Okay, because that's really the name of the game here. So I'm going to start again. Y equals t over f. Now to shorten that up, if you can just write those values, 8 over 7x, rather than writing the values, then substituting in, that saves you time. We are going to cross multiply here. So 7y equals 8x. So now when I look at 40x here, 40x is a multiple of 8x. 40x is 8x times 5. So if I multiply both of these sides by 5, I get 40x equals 35y. If I look at 14y, 14y is a multiple of 7y. And if I multiply both of these by 2, that's 14y equals 16x. Mm-hmm. So why is that useful? Well, instead of writing 40x, you can write 35y over 17y. Instead of 14y, you can write 16x over 15x. What do you notice now? The variables, they cancel. So it's 35 over 17 plus 16 over 15. Now you still have to do this common denominator stuff, but it's not as bad as you'd think. It's just this number times 15 and this number times 17, and you end up getting the same thing again for that. Okay. So the whole emphasis of this problem is sometimes you solve for y over x or x over y, or you use multiples of the values that you solve for. So let's look at another one here. This one is, I think this is more reasonable to do. I'd like you to try it though, substituting in for the numerator and the denominator. Actually, let me work through this one again with you because I think maybe this concept isn't super clear. So this is y equals 8 over 3x, and when you just clear the 3, you get 3y equals 8x. So if you see here, this is 16x. So what should you multiply the top and bottom by, or the both sides by, to get to 16x?
By
2. So but the more you write down though, the less time you had. So you could write 16x equals 6y, but if you see, oh, well, it's just 6y, you could immediately write 6y over 17y with a negative in front. You need a 9y over here. How do you get 9y from 3y? You multiply by 3. Again, I'm writing it, but if you can see, oh, well, 9y is really 24x, you get down to 24x over 2x. and it just saves you time. The x's cancel. I wouldn't even write that. I wouldn't even show that. I would just realize, okay, I've got negative 6 over 17, 24 over 2. Maybe you cross them out. You need a common denominator. The common denominator is 34. So you get 34 on the bottom. You have to multiply this minus 6 by 2, minus 12. You have to multiply this 24 by 17. So this, I mean, it feels like it's excessive, but it can be done. 10 times 24 is 240. 7 times 20 is 140, and then 7 times 4 is 28. So you can make some shortcuts to do it this way. This is 340, 368. And then the numerators combine into 356, and then you can cut both of those in half. Did I make a mistake here? I think I made a mistake in my calculations. I'm sorry, yeah, this is 380, this is 408. I don't like 408, so you get 396 over 34, which equals 198 divided by 17.
Okay, that's a lot of like hand calculations to do.
It is. So what would you maybe not have to do? You might not have to do this, but you for sure would have to see that these calculations are here. The problems just appear to be too easy if you don't add in a little wrinkle to them like that. So let's have you do one of these on your own, and I'm going to snip it in. It's same style of question. I'll give you 60 seconds, and I'll check back with you, and we'll see how you're doing on that. All right, how are you doing on this one?
Yeah, but I got like maybe like halfway through.
Okay.
I got like to 14y equals 6x, and then like 28y equals 12x. That's
Okay. All right. That doesn't sound too far off. I mean, you get the numbers in here. But do you want me to keep talking, or do you want to keep working through it?
You can talk because I've been staring at it for a few seconds.
All right, so we got 7y equals 3x, and so I need 6x. 6x is double this, so that's 14y instead of 7y over 5y, which becomes 14 over 5, plus 28y, well, that's this times 4. So instead of 28y, I'm going to put this times 4, which is 12x over 19x.
Okay.
So
That's
this
what
is me.
we do.
So the root of like the very fundamental thing that you're doing here is adding fractions with unlike denominators.
Okay. I didn't realize I had to put it like back into the equation, the original
Okay.
equation. So that's work.
Yeah.
So then you just add those.
Yes.
14 over 5.
So it's 14 times 19 plus 12 times 5 over 5 times 19, which is 95. I mean, that's why all these are 95 here. So this is 60, and this is 14. So I look at 14 times 19 as 14 times 20, which is 280, and then you subtract out 114. That gets you back to 266. So it looks like the answer is B.
Okay.
So this is a good example of a problem where if you notice there was a skill like adding fractions that you weren't very good at, we'd want to spend more time on that. If it was really unclear with you know, how you're making these substitutions, you know, that's something to look at as well. But probably just move on to a new question and see what we get here. So question 3. And again, probably the questions I'm producing here are in general more difficult than the ones that you'll see, but I don't know that that's ever been a bad way to practice for a test. You know, to have you know, you're trying to do something more challenging than the other. So, which of the following is the correct equation for the lines connecting points B and C? So when it says which of the following, those are what I consider to be the most difficult questions, because often you have to refer to the answers to be able to do this. And notice that the answers are actually in all different forms. You've got slope-intercept form, point slope, and standard. So do you recall the progression between slope-intercept, point slope?
What do you mean the
So okay, so like for example, it's very difficult to start at standard form. Okay, like it's very easy to go from slope-intercept to standard form.
Oh, okay.
And it's relatively easy to go from point slope form
The slope-intercept
to slope-intercept. Okay, so if you had to start somewhere, you would start with point slope form. Okay, and in fact, like this gives you the option to figure out, okay, well, you know, maybe it's one of those. Maybe you get lucky and it's one of those. You're in good shape. The slope here you can find from the slope formula, but I'd probably just tell you to count. You know, you're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going down 8, and you're going right 9. You could also do some things like realize, okay, that's 6 up, and then that's 2 down, that's 8. It's 1 left and 8 right, that's 9. You can do a few things like that. So that helps you though, because that helps you to see it's not that one and it's not that one because they have the wrong slope.
Okay.
So that's nice. Now, if if those were the right numbers, you would have to continue down this progression. So the next step now is to write it correctly in point slope form and then convert to slope intercept form.
Okay.
So which point do you want to use, B or C? And it doesn't matter which one you use. Which
C.
one? C. So point C is 8 comma negative 2. So point slope is y minus y1 equals your slope x minus x1. So you have y minus negative 2 equals negative 8 over 9 x minus 8. So this is y plus 2 equals minus 8 over 9 x minus 8.
Mm-hmm.
So now
2 over.
Yeah, and you want to distribute, so you're going to have y equals negative 8 over 9 plus 64 over 9, and like you said, you're going to subtract 2. Now when you subtract 2, it's so much better if you can say subtract 18 over 9 rather than that one little, you know, stroke of the pencil just saves you time there.
Okay.
And there's an x there, so you have y equals minus 8 over 9 plus 46 over 9. So it looks like the correct answer is
A.
A.
Okay.
Doesn't seem too difficult, does it?
No, those ones aren't that bad, I don't think.
The one of the reasons that the practice I'm going to give you is so helpful is the next question I give you like this, you actually have no idea whether, you can't just say, well, it must be the one in slope-intercept form because that was the answer to the one he just did. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So let me throw up the next question here. Actually, these are all in point slope form with the answers, so it produces a different challenge. Let me get that snipped in here and take about 60 seconds and see if you can do this on your own.
Okay. Okay, I got it. I think it's B.
Okay, that let me check here. I didn't actually check the solution yet. So you think it's B? It is B.
I
Okay.
started like actually like solving it, and I was like, wait, I already got the answer, and I was trying to like multiply the fractions and stuff. So
Okay. Yeah, it's sometimes it's always good to look at the answer space to see, okay, is it there, is it there, and it really could be helpful to do that. So do you want to do one more of these, or do you want to move on to a new question?
let's move on to a new one. I
Okay.
think I got these ones.
All right. All right. So, okay. So we got another story problem coming next. The answer is B here. The story problem they always have well, not always, they have extra information sometimes. Sometimes you have to use all the information, sometimes just a lot of words. My recommendation is to always start with the last sentence, so you kind of know what you're looking for. If j equals 1, well, I don't know what j is. How much does the ratio, I don't know what the ratio is, h, decrease from the year 2027 to 2043? So it looks like whenever you say decrease or increase, it usually means you're going to do two calculations, and then you're going to add or subtract them in this case. Okay, so let's go back and review. Read the rest of the question. At a recent annual meeting, a waste company reviewed their policy on radioactive material disposal. Amir, an engineer who works for the company, found that the ratio of radioactive material to non-radioactive material, H, is approximated by the formula H equals J times 4 to the power of negative T over 8, where J is the ratio of radioactive material to non-radioactive material present initially, and T is the number of years since the year 2019. If J equals 1, how much does the ratio H decrease from the year 2027 to 2043? So we gotta extract the important stuff here. So the important stuff is I got an equation. All right, we know that j equals 1. That's given. And we have to do it for two different values. We have to do it for 2027 and 2043. What is t? We know j. What is t in this equation? What does it tell you that it is? It's the number of years since.
So 2019 is like your is like 0, right?
It's
Isn't
like
that
it's your base year exactly. It's like 0. So this 2027 looks horrible. Like you would never want to put that into this fraction. But if for the year 2027, t equals 2027 minus 2019, which is 8.
I'm going to do the same thing for 2043, right?
Right. So h is equal to j, but j is 1, so it's not even needed. It's extra information. Minus 8 over 8. And then for the next year, or for 2043, it's 4 to the power of 2043 minus 19 is 24, and that's minus 24 over 8. So here's what I'm really getting. Here's what the problem is really asking you to do. Subtract these two values, 4 to the minus 1 minus 4 over minus 4 to the minus 3 power. So 1/4 minus 1 over 64.
Okay.
So this is like the first problem we did, or one of the first ones, where you have to now find a common denominator. So we're going to go to 60. Go to 6 first. You multiply top and bottom by 16. So you get 16 over 64 minus 1 over 64, and the answer is 15 over 64.
Okay.
All right. So the again, just there's always kind of information in there that if you just comb through it, and that's part of the challenge. You got 60 to 80 seconds per problem. So can you read it? Can you extract it and do it in that amount of time? It's sometimes pretty tight to be able to do all that, but that's that is what's required. So let me snip in the student 2 exam question. And let me give you 60 seconds here and see if you can do this on your own. Let me know when you get your result, please.
I got C, 3/8.
It is C. Very good. All right, so good job on that. That question is, I think that's a pretty standard type of question you could expect to see. It's kind of right in the middle of being, not too difficult, not too easy. And obviously once you see it, it's not too bad to do either.
Oh, are there really logs on the on the SAT? Because I mean, on the PSAT, I don't think there were logs.
So I can't. I can't confirm or deny. I hate saying that. This question is it. You could argue with this question isn't going to be on there, but the skills needed to do it are required. And this one emphasizing multiplying decimals and adding decimals, which you could see in another question.
Okay.
So it's at first glance you might think, oh gosh, So look at the answer space, and I think I asked this question for what do you see that's the same, and what do you see that's different? That's often a good place to start here.
Well, it goes in ascending order.
Right.
Right, and they're all 0.1 apart.
So they're all numbers, and they're 0.1 apart. So you better get the right answer, because guessing here, if you're not sure, it's going to be a problem. And somehow you get that from this given information here. So the given information is that the log base 7 of u is 2.3, and the log base 7 of z is -3. And they want you to start with this thing right here, 343 u to the 5th, z to the 4th. Do you recall how to break apart logs?
Like half, like sort of.
All right, so there's this property where it says log base n. If you've got like a times b times c, this equals log base n a plus log base n b plus log base n c. And they sometimes say, it's even written sometimes as product becomes a sum. So in this case, it's log base 7, 343, plus log base 7 u to the 5th, plus log base 7 z to the 4th. Do you recall the property used for exponents?
Not exactly.
Okay, so the property is n times log base b of x.
Oh, okay.
So just bring that exponent in front. So it's log base 7, 343, plus 5 times log base 7u, plus 4 times log base 7 of z. Now here's where that given information comes in handy. Log base 7 of u is 2.3.
You can just plug the numbers in.
5 times 2.3, and this is 4 times -3. So on the left here, okay, like maybe you don't like that, but it's 5 times 2 is 10 plus 0.3, that's 1.5 minus 12 here. We still have this log base 7, 343 to deal with.
And you definitely wouldn't get a calculator for this one because
you actually can. This is 11.5 minus 12, so you're up to minus 0.5.
Well, if you got a calculator, you would just like plug in log base 7 of 343, right? And they wouldn't really want you to do that.
No, but this is actually one of those that you should know. So there's all these exponents you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know like 7 to the 1st is 7, 7 squared is 49, and 7 cubed is just right on the edge of like whether you should know it or not know it.
Okay.
And since that's why I mentioned some of these problems are kind of right on the edge. Some are too difficult, but the skills are important here. If you know this, it makes this problem very fast, because it's log base 7 of 7 to the 3rd is 3 times log base 7 of 7. Any log base n of n equals 1. So this is 1. So the answer is 3 minus 0.5, which is 2.5.
Okay.
So this is totally doable, but like you said, yeah, I mean, maybe the logs aren't on there, but is the idea of substituting variables on there? Yes. Is the idea of multiplying some decimals, adding them base to exponent? Absolutely. And also keep in mind, this is very equivalent to like a college algebra class that you probably don't want to have to retake when you get to college. But a lot of students end up retaking. So keep that in mind here. So, Let me give you one like this because again, it's worth doing. I think this is once you've seen it, you should be able to do something like this in about 60 to 80 seconds. So let me snip that in here. It's just different numbers. All right, so let me know when you get your answer.
Okay, I think it's E 18.5.
That is correct. So you probably at some point had to realize that 8 to the third is 512.
Uh-huh.
So there's all these numbers to exponents that you have to know, and I created a list, but it's like 2 to the 0 all the way up to maybe 2 to the 10th, 3 to the 0 all the way up to maybe 3 to the 6th. They get smaller. Like you don't need to know, like where we're at here, 8 to the third, maybe 9 to the third. You need to know a few of those.
Yeah.
All it does is save you time, uh, because you can do the what's 64 times 8. You can do that, but it does take time. So every choice you make for preparation helps to decide, am I going to spend that time now or on the exam?
Because you want to spend as little time.
Yeah, I mean, when I had initially planned to start making in-person classes for this, the one of the biggest emphasis was on time and clocks and having like something out in front of you that literally made you see a big display that said, this is how much time you have. You hit start and that's all I get. Like you have to make a decision and go after it.
Mm-hmm.
I already know this about this question. This is one of the easier questions that you'll see, but it comes in a story form, and it can take you 20 seconds to read through it, and that's part of this process is figuring out how to manage your time. So this one again says which of the following. So that means you got to look at all the answers, or you got to make sure your answer maps perfectly to one of those. So it says a bakery in San Francisco makes eclairs on Mondays and waffles on Thursdays. Keith can make W eclairs per hour. So W eclairs per hour. But he only works 4 hours on Monday. So he works 4 hours on Monday. Sean only works 3 hours on Thursdays, but he makes G waffles per hour, and he works 3 hours on Thursday. And it's implied, but this is for a particular work week. Okay. So it's 4W plus 3G, like that's how much you get in a week. Okay. But they want to know, well, they're interested in for n weeks. So for 1 week, it's this. For 2 weeks, it would be 8W plus 6G. I multiplied this by 2. For 3 weeks, it would be 12W plus 9G. Well, there must be a better way. It's to say that the week, you take n, the number of weeks, and you multiply it by 4W plus 3G. So they want to produce C baked goods. Well, this represents the C baked goods. But they're asking for the expression of n. They're saying basically solve this for n. And all you have to do that is divide by 4W plus 3G. 4W plus 3G. So n equals C over 4W plus 3G.
B.
Which is B. Now, could we have figured that out like just by looking at these? Possibly. The number, like you could maybe pick some numbers for these values and see which ones worked out, but writing the expression really helps to do that. So again, there were no calculations here. I mean, you just had to multiply 3G, 4W, add them together. You had to know that the total number of baked goods is the number you make each week times n. So there's that little wrinkle to it, but not super difficult. So the problem with this question is that if I give you the next one, you're gonna potentially know the answer just by looking at the answers now. But we'll.
What is on the left side of? Can you go up a little? Sorry.
Yes. Let me just paste this in. Go ahead.
On the left side of the 4W plus 3G on the.
That's a week. That's
okay.
1 week. 1 week is that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, not my strong point. Writing out explanations. Okay, so give this one a try. We'll take about 60 seconds and see if you can get that one down.
No, isn't it just A? I think you're muted.
Thank you. I'm going to move to a new question 7. I think that this is one that you can try on your own, at least to start, because it's very algebraic. It's very much like, okay. So go ahead and just see what you can do. I'll give you 60 seconds to start.
you isolate like the variables, right? So you would get, oh, I know where okay.
It sounds like you want a little more time. So
Yes.
go ahead and do that, and I'll provide some comments here.
Okay. Uh, well, the closest is B, but I got +5.
Okay, that's obviously no good. Believe it or not, this is a systems question, but it's sort of already solved for y. So if I look at this over here that I box in, y equals 12.
Yeah, I got that.
So notice I'm not multiplying, I'm just doing that. So now on this other equation on the left, I can solve for x because I know the value of y. So the steps that I'd like to see you do is, okay, I'm going to bring that down, but this is -24, and then I'm going to add 9. So that's -15. So x equals 5. So notice you got x, but what is it asking for?
Oh, so you have to do 5 minus 12.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the comment I want to make. I'm going to snip in another one of these, but the comment I want to make is that it is very common for them not to just ask for the value of x. It's very common for them to ask for
Just add a little wrinkle.
x minus y, x plus y. What is 2x plus 2y? And it's a way to do it, and you see this at the university level too, where they sort of disguise questions. So we'll make this our last question. I'll give you a minute here to finish and see if we'll probably close out here shortly.
Okay. D.
Checking. I didn't actually. Yeah, it is D.
Cool.
Okay. So my suggestion, I pulled I think most of the questions I pulled are from the student 1 exam and student 2 exam. So my recommendation would be to do a student 3 exam on your own today.
Okay.
Or soon. So my availability next Sunday is that I don't have anything on my schedule for this normal time. I won't know until Saturday, or I won't know until Sunday morning. So if you really like this time, you really want to do it, I can't tell you until Saturday or Sunday morning, but there are times Sunday evening if you would like. Next Sunday evening for sure.
I'll just go look at what times are available. I'm usually free all Sunday, so.
Okay, that's it. I'll send these notes out to you shortly, and thanks again for scheduling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye now.